But if you know, you know.
So, I recently finished watching Dark on Netflix and it was beautiful. So I started looking for things similar to it and I found this book, Recursion by Blake Crouch. Now, the short version is I did not like the book. And the longer version is, well, fuck! So the story follows two characters, each on a different journey, let's say. The first one is Barry Sutton. He is a detective at the NYPD, and he's your man's man. He is good at his job. He is heartbroken, like every man should be. His daughter, Megan, died when she was a teenager, and his marriage with Julia did not last long after that. It reminds me of Manchester by the Sea, when Julia and Barry talked like you can't get your words out, you are a shell of yourself, you are a ghost, so many unspoken feelings. Overall, he's an average guy, but you root for him because of his tragic past. And also investigating the FMS, false memory syndrome, throughout the book. That isn't actually false memory, it is actually time travel. We'll get to it. The second character is Helena Smith. She is single. Her apartment is a mess. She's a genius neuroscientist and she's trying to develop this chair that helps Alzheimer's patients like her mom retain their memories. Very noble goal. And so Marcus Slade, the villain of the book, tells her, you know, your project is going nowhere. I'm going to give you $250 billion trillion and we're going to develop the shit out of the chair. She's like, okay, sounds good. And so Marcus has hidden motivations. He's the only one who knows about how this chair really works, which I will explain to you in a second. Now, halfway through the story, our two characters, it's like on page 150 or something, Barry and Helena meet. Finally, they converge. The stories converge, and this is the beginning of the clusterfuck that is this book. And we'll get to that.
But if you know, you know. You got me feeling mellow.
I love you, FSN. If you claim my video, it would be an honor. Okay, so basically the way time traveling works in this book is two components. The first one is the chair, aka memory mapping. You get into this chair, they examine your brain, they tell you to remember something vivid, maybe a joyful memory, a hurtful one, emphasis on sound, taste, smell. After your memory is mapped, we go to step 2, which is memory reactivation. You get into a sensory deprivation tank. You lie down in the salt water floating, naked. And they basically inject poison into your forearm and they kill you. Your heart stops and then there is a DMT release in your brain. Yes, the psychedelic. Now, why is death necessary for a DMT release? Why can't they just do drugs, get a glass pipe, inhale DMT? I don't know. I'm not. But, yeah, they die. And in that moment of DMT release, they reactivate the memory and your consciousness gets sent back in time. And yeah. Now you might ask, how does memory reactivation send you back in time? I don't know. Nobody knows. Blake Crouch does not know. Okay, let's explain the rules of the time travel in this book by using an example. Barry Sutton travels back in time and he chooses a memory, let's call it T1, a memory where his daughter was still alive pretty much 10 minutes before she died. And let's say T2 is the moment he dies in the deprivation tank and his memory is reactivated. Now his consciousness gets sent back from T2 to T1, but this creates a new timeline, timeline B. He gets sent from here down to here. Now, you may notice the different colors here. Of course, everything before T1 is still the same. History happened as it was. But now you get to rewrite your story, basically, and live a new life. Here's the catch, though. The time traveler himself, Barry, retains all the memories of the previous life. But the people surrounding him, like his wife and his daughter, do not. Until timeline anniversary. Now, what is timeline anniversary? It's basically the moment you did the time travel, T2. In your new life, once you reach T2 again, people surrounding you, like Julia, like your daughter Megan, suddenly get their memories back from timeline A, and it's a whole whirlwind of emotions. That's how false memory syndrome happens. They suddenly gain back memories of a life that they never lived, but they actually did live it in timeline A. And they are very distraught, and it leads people to kill themselves, which is something I don't like in the book. It was first used in the opening scene of a person killing themselves because they have memories of a life which allegedly they did not live. These false memories of a previous timeline, they feel like real memories because they are, but they're also described as being static or in black or a bit grayed out, but they just feel as real as a real memory. And of course, once Barry reaches T2, his daughter gains memories of her getting hit by a car. His wife gets memories of her daughter dying, and they're like, what the fuck is going on? It's a clusterfuck when an anniversary timeline is reached. Okay, let's get serious for this one. My biggest problem in the book is reality shifting. Now let me jump straight into the example. There's an architect who time travels from A to B, and in B he builds a building that he always dreamed of building. Now, once the timeline anniversary hits, in this timeline, thousands of New Yorkers are suddenly looking up and are like, what the fuck? How did this building materialize out of nowhere? This does not make sense. You already lived, you have the recollection of this building being built. Why is it materializing out of nowhere for you? Now, the way Blake describes these scenes in the book, it is as if you are suddenly transported from here to here with the snap of a finger and you don't have any recollection of this. He gives us an explanation later in the book. Too late by then, it already ruined the immersion for me. His explanation is, say you were in timeline B, time anniversary hits, suddenly your brain is so overwhelmed you forget all of this. And your brain starts remembering the previous timelines. And once that is done, then it starts remembering the actual memories of the timeline you are currently in. Go fuck yourself. Another thing I hate about the book is repetitiveness. Now, you might think this is just a byproduct of time travel. You're gonna go back in time and live the same events, blah, blah, blah. But I don't think so. If you compare it to Dark, Dark also lives the same events a few times. In Recursion, the same two events are trying to evoke the same stressful emotion. For example, Megan's death, she dies twice, and Blake Crouch is trying to get the reader to feel crushed. Doesn't work a second time, really. I didn't give a shit about Megan the second time. I give a shit about her the first time. Take Dark, for example. They do explore the same event multiple times, but in Dark, every time the event comes back around, it is trying to evoke a different emotion. It is giving us a different perspective. It is giving us more details that we were missing previously. And so, watch Dark. Okay. People are fucking stupid in this book. before that, Barry is a fucking piece of shit like me, and suddenly in these other lives he is on Helena's level, and he's a physicist, and he's a neuroscientist, and he's studying fucking black holes. Like, you spend the first half of the book building deep, powerful emotions in these characters. You get used to them being a certain way, and then you snap a finger and he is just whatever you want him to be. There's such a disconnect in Barry's character. He's one person in the first half, he's a completely different person in the second half, and a big part of it is the shitty romance. Around the halfway mark through the book, finally Barry and Helena meet up, and Helena says, in 4 months, we are fucking. Trust me, it's fucking amazing. So what happens is Blake Crouch bypasses and skips all the character building and character developments and just says, bro, just trust me, they fall in love. Bro, just trust me, they have chemistry. Just wait, they're gonna be lovers, man. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. They fuck. The first time they meet is not the only problem. Even later in the book, even something more fucked up. Now that I think about it, it's so fucked up. They are trying to stop this whole bullshit from happening, right? And they get to a timeline anniversary, they achieve no results, and they go back in time again, and they study again, and they achieve no results, and they go back in time, and each time they're more in love than the previous time. Helena is the one doing the time traveling back, so Barry has no memories. Barry has no memories of meeting his wife Julia. Barry has no memories of his daughter Megan, that she even died in the first place. So every time Barry is in love with Helena, he has no memories of his previous life. That's fucked up. Another thing that got on my nerve is, again, stupidity. Helena and Barry spent like 150 years together, and they did this cycle like 6 times. And the moment the timeline happens at this point in the story, within minutes, everybody else gets their memories back, and USA, Russia, and China start nuking each other. You just got your memories back 5 minutes ago. How are you already sending nukes to every major state in the United States? And what's even worse is that Barry and Helena went through this like 6 times, and each time they are nearing a timeline anniversary, they're like on a fucking hike. And then once they realize they're nuking them, they start this whole action suspense of running and driving and dodging explosions and almost dying and crawling to the lab and then traveling back in time again. And then another time, they're having fucking Starbucks before a nuclear war. You've been through this. Why are you 20 kilometers away from the lab if China is gonna nuke Denver or wherever the fuck you are? And if you're like, nukes? What the fuck are you talking about? Yeah, the story just becomes a big save the world plot, bunch of bullshit. All of the nations are racing to develop their own time machines, and they get memories of the previous life, and they nuke every state in the USA, so whoever in the USA is doing the time traveling accidentally gets nuked. Yeah, that's a great plan. And yeah, if you can tell by now, the book was infuriating to me, which is frustrating. I really liked the book, the first like 100 pages. It was so nice, it was contained. But overall, I think I'll give the book like 3 out of 5. Yeah, that's it. I have a lot more to say, but honestly, I'm fucking tired of talking to myself and screaming. I can't believe I drew this! Thank you.